right, and welcome back. And well, we're discussing the economy and what we are likely to see as the effects following the directives given by the president yesterday during his State of the Nation address after having attended the COVID-19 conference yesterday. And with me, we have Dr. Exen Iraki, who's an economist, and Mr. Simon Mwangi Njoroge, who is the national chair of the Bars and Hotels Liquor Traders Association. Let me come to you, Dr. Iraki, and sometimes we struggle to understand and help us understand maybe the thinking behind lockdowns and this kind of things. And this is in regards to, we started off with one case. We locked down the country or stopped movement and brought in all the protocols with one case. We are now over 38,000, yet we are opening up the economy. So sometimes the logic behind it is a bit, one that needs to understand the reasoning behind it. What has changed? What really has changed other than the number going up?
So I was arguing from day one that we should not have closed the economy. We just have opened the economy for 24 hours so that we expand the economic space, we disperse the crowds. But the reason why we closed the economy so fast is that was what was fashionable. From China to US to Europe, every part of the world, that was what was fashionable. But we did not look at our unique circumstances. But let's give credit where it is due. I think the Kenyan government did something good by making sure that certain sectors of the economy continued operating. That's why you never heard of food shortages during the COVID-19 lockdown. But I think the lockdown that came because of COVID-19 was more political than economic. I don't think we did a serious economic analysis of the consequences of locking an economy for 6 weeks or for 6 months. That's why you can see in every part of the world, there is concerted effort to open the economies. Because people have seen the damage that COVID did. The problem with COVID is that nobody had anything like that before. So people did not know how to react. And in such circumstances, the most logical thing is for people to panic.
Right.
In the fullness of time, we shall probably understand whether we made the right decisions or wrong decisions. Or
not. I mean, we look at economies like Tanzania who've not closed at all, and I'll come back to you and, get your thoughts on that. But let me engage Mr. Mwangi. Mr. Mwangi, what are some of the things that you'd like to assure Kenyans? Because one of the worry that Kenyans have is that the minute we open up bars and liquor stores, there's likely to be misbehavior from those, of course, who are indulging. There's likely to be partying going on. And the nature of a party is that there's no social distancing. These protocols are definitely going to be ignored.
Thank you. I'll first say that what happened in those 6 months, it was good that the government would have first called the stakeholders to come and engage with them and see the best way to close or to open. For instance, the wines and spirits have been opened for all those 6 months. And what was happening is that people were taking alcohol at home, and this would expose to the kids. Then, in the time that we had closed, there was a lot of liquor, illicit brew going on everywhere in Kenya. It was too much. What we want to assure Kenyans is one thing, that protocols that have been directed by the CS of Health, those ones would be followed to the letter. Secondly, is that we are not just going to open bars because of yesterday's directives, go and open. We'll have to sit down with various health protocols that from the county before we open. Thirdly, I would like to say this, that let all bars be members of association. If in Westlands, people will not follow protocol, we will not say let us close all bars because protocols in Westlands have not been followed by few bars. This time is our time that we have to show the government and even to show our people, our customers, that we are here to follow protocols. Then I also like to urge the distributors, the manufacturers in Kenya, that we come together, let us see the best way that we can follow these protocols. But I'm assuring you, our customers and the government, that we are ready, and we have been more than ready to follow these protocols. And I also want to tell the bar owners that are watching today that it's your place that customers are coming. If you don't follow the protocols, it's your license that the public health is going to take. So it's not a time of now saying that it's a time for games. No, no, no. It's serious business from today.
All right, and I'm sure you appreciate not every bar is under an association for whatever reasons, and this, like you say, would probably be a good time to clean up. What message do you have to those bars that possibly, for whatever reason, are not under any association and would want to do their own thing?
I'm very sorry to tell them that it will be hard for them just to open up, because at this time we have been engaging with most of the county governors that all bars should be under association. Let them know it's a high time that everybody is going to be under an association. And let me tell you something, that if we do not do that, all this the president has done yesterday of opening up the bars, it will all be hopeless. So let our members be urged to be under association.
All right, and Dr. Iraqi, let's come back to you. And of course, we've talked a lot about entertainment joints, bars, and hotels, but schools have not been reopened. And as much as you said and mentioned, maybe it's because they don't pay taxes, they also are a huge revenue source for various, stakeholders. For instance, we have teachers, we have cooks, we have quite a number of people who are under that economy. What are likely to be the effects of not having schools opened, despite the fact that maybe this, from government's perspective and from the narrative they're giving us, is to protect the children?
I think that's a nice observation, because schools are not just centers of academic excellence or students to be taught mathematics and other subjects and pass their exams and go and build careers. Schools are also economic centers. Because if you look at it, the school, we have people who supply the school with food and other items. We have people who supply schools with books and other items. So when schools are closed, and if you look at the number of students who go to school, 15 million, that's a very big chunk of the population. So the people who trade with the school, the people who do business with the schools are definitely affected by that. And that's why there's an urge for us to open the school, because an integral part of the economy. If you look at an economy, there's always the consumption part of it. And the school is a big part of that. That's why a lot of people are saying, why don't you open the school so that schools play their economic role? But I think I want us to expand that debate a bit more. If you look at the debate we are having here with Simon Mwangi and Gitonga, there are no children here. And I think it's very important that for any country to look at the most vulnerable members of the society, they don't have anybody to speak for them. So I would want us to expand this debate to go beyond bars and liquor places, but we also discuss about the future of our children, because that's the next generation. Nobody is going to take care of them except ourselves. I also want us to go beyond bars and liquor places to other sectors of the economy, because this economy is more than what we are discussing today.
Right.
Why are we not discussing agriculture? Why are we not discussing tourism? So I want us to expand this debate so that we go beyond what Simon Mwangi and myself are discussing, education and liquor stores or beer, to other sectors of the economy, because this economy's economic recovery will depend not on two sectors, but all the sectors recover.
Absolutely.
So let's expand the debate to other sectors of the economy.
All right, and maybe you can take advantage of that and just highlight some of those sectors. You've mentioned agriculture, and we certainly have ignored quite a number of those, but we need to put more emphasis on them. Maybe you can just highlight some of those that maybe even government has not put a lot of emphasis on.
I think the one I would start with is the agricultural sector. And I think one of the biggest, I don't know how to put it this way, but the government of Kenya, the people of this country should be very happy, because COVID-19 coincided with the very good rains. So you can imagine what would have happened if we had drought, and then there was COVID-19. But we need to give farmers more incentives so that beyond COVID-19, they start feeding this country. Nobody went hungry. But nobody is talking about the farmers, men and women who struggle from the rising of the sun to the setting of the sun, feed this nation under very harsh conditions. So one of the things we should do is to make sure that we give farmers incentives so they become more productive and they get a return for their hard work. Tourism is a very big sector, and it was very badly affected, although it is related to what Simon is talking about. When we closed our airspace, tourists never came. When we closed the counties like Nairobi and Mombasa, domestic tourists never moved from point A to B. And these are very key players in our economy, agriculture and tourism. So as we discuss how to revive the RICA industry, the education industry, let's also look in agriculture and tourism because those are key to our economy.
All right, and Simon Mwangi, the question here being, when do you expect and anticipate that we are likely to have the entertainment industry, which you belong to, you know, sort of get back on from its knees, given the number of people it employs?
Firstly, I would like to say that not all businesses are going to open now. About 20% already will not be able to open. There was this small money, there was some money that had been put aside for the liquor, the hotel businesses by the government. We need that money to make these guys open up because 20% are not going to open. And I also know that even public schools, 20% of them are not going to open. So we are hoping that our people will be able to follow all protocols.
When you say the 20% will not open, what's the reason for their not opening? Is it because they went under?
They went under, they have 6 months rent. The stocks expired. So people who are going to open without headaches from today. What we are trying to do is look for financial institutions where they'll come and start bailing our people out. Because I know at this time, for those 6 months, people do not have money to open them.
All right, we apologize for that. There seems to be an issue with the network right there. So as we establish that link, we'll come to Dr. Iraki. What other areas would you advise government to concentrate on? You've talked about tourism and, of course, opening the airspace. But even with opening the airspace, that, as much as works for us, we also depend on other countries. There are other countries that may want to have their people come, but their airspace may not be open. Maybe creative ways that we can ensure that even local tourism flourishes and we're able to keep the money going round.
I think the first sector to think about is international trade. I know the airspace is closed, but the border between Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania and our neighbors like Somalia and Southern Sudan are not closed. So to me, that's a rule I thought. In fact, one of the things that COVID-19 taught us is the importance of good neighborliness. Because when all is said and done, you'll be left with your neighbors. When all is said and done, you'll be left with your domestic tourists. So I think for the first time we have realized that we are more dependent on our neighbors than in the past. So one of the things we need to do immediately is to strengthen the East African community. The other thing we need to do is to realize that counties were supposed to be centers of economic growth, not centers of politics. So maybe with COVID-19, we are supposed to start thinking about devolution. Because devolution is more seen as political than economic. Did we learn something from COVID-19 that counties can do very well? Is there something that Makweli realized they can do very well, that Meru realized they can do very well, that Vihiga realized they can do very well, or Siaya? So I think we need to start looking at the economy in a broader perspective. At the county level, at the national level, at East African community level, at the African level, and the global level. And we see how we can integrate all those initiatives to make the economy grow. Because in the past, we have probably tended to depend too much on export market, the European Union, the American market, and so on. But now we have realized that we have to start thinking on the people who are next to us, Tanzanians. I get very annoyed when I see Kenyans and Tanzanians feuding over food or something else. Those will always be our neighbors. The same way you have a neighbor, whether you like him or not, he will always be your neighbor. So I think COVID-19 has given us a chance to rethink how our economy should be harnessed for the good of all of us.
All right, before we wind up, the tax relief that has been maintained, what is your thoughts on that and how helpful is that for us to ensure that we get back on our feet?
That's a good question because if I was to supervise the PhD students, one of the things I would demand him to do is to look at how effective the stimulus package was. It takes time for us to see how such a big policy statement works through the economy. But I think it was a good decision for the government to give a stimulus package, whether it was tax relief, whether it was reducing the interest rates. But we don't know how long it is going to take before we start seeing the effects. But what probably I can say with confidence is that it was a good decision. But you don't know how long it is going to take before we start seeing the results. It might be 1 year, it might be 2 years, but it was a good decision all the same.
It was a good decision, and of course, we are going to wait until when, or rather how long that will be. Let's get to your closing remarks, Mr. Mwangi, and possibly your advice, and maybe just to reassure Kenyans, like you've seen even from the dailies and the general feeling even on social media, is that opening up of bars seems to be just for drunkards, but we ignore the economic backbone that we rely on from the entertainment industry. So your closing remarks, Mr. Mwangi.
Thank you. I would say that every country had challenges at this time of COVID-19 epidemic. And Kenya being one of the countries that also had challenges. Let's thank the government of today that it's opening up our country pole. I think for me, I would say that I, for now, would want to tell Kenyans, let us go back to work. And when you look at our industry, the alcohol industry, it also includes the farmers are there because they're the ones who plant the berries. So let us tell Kenyans, let's go back to work. Let us have a positive drinking. Let us drink the alcohol that is recommended in our country. And of course, let us work and let us work in Kenya. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Dr. Exen Iraqi, your closing remarks.
I think the growth of an economy, whether it is Kenyan economy or any other country's economy, is dependent on the citizens of that country. What is their view towards work? And do they work hard enough? Are they resilient enough? Are they confident? Do they have confidence in themselves and the confidence in the government? So if the economy has to turn around after COVID-19, then everybody must play his role. Whether you're a farmer, whether you're a broadcaster, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a manufacturer, everybody must play his role. The economy is need of what each of us does. So the government and the ordinary people like you and me must play their part.
Must play their part.
We should not leave it to the government or to individuals. It is all of us. I believe that despite COVID-19, the future of this country is very bright. We have overcome bigger challenges, bigger issues in the past. There's no reason why we are not going to overcome COVID-19.
Thank you very much. That's Dr. Exen Iraqi, who's an economist, and Mr. Simon Mwangi Njoroge, who's a national chair for Bars and Hotels and Liquor Traders Association. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning for the discussion. And to that question that we've been asking you, just to take a few comments, we see Cyprian Ongeri. Well, the question was, do you support what the government did, the government's move to reopen bars and keep schools closed? We have Cyprian Ongeri who says, wacha tujaribu hii social distance na walevi kwanza. If they make it, we can open schools for kids. Not a bad idea. Kevin says, yes, we can meet in bars first, then discuss more about our safety with our children. I'll take one more. Oscar Murunga, who says, yes, it's better to try with grown-ups first or maintain social distance and wearing of masks other than our children. You can imagine the mood of meeting your friends in such places again, but maybe they should sanitize our bodies first before going to school. Well,